As you can see, I have a halo. This allows you to know that I am spiritual and that you should be listening to what I have to say about the Protestant Reformed worldview. As I've already explained to you, we have the Westminster Confession of Faith, the catechisms that go along with it, the three forms of unity, these things. There are those within the umbrella of Christianity who don't like that. And they will use a phrase that you may or may not have heard, no creed but Christ. Then I have to ask, well, what do you mean by that? You know, that becomes your creed, no creed but Christ. But now I need you to explain, well, then who is Christ, right? And then it comes into that whole thing, what does it mean to be Christian? So the fact is, you can say no creed but Christ, but you still have to explain what you mean by that, and it becomes a creed. So what we have to understand is this is about language. This is about understanding and understanding truth and understanding language. And so we have a word called hermeneutics. Hermeneutics is your method of interpreting the Bible. And there are those who are going to say, no, don't do that. Well, you have to interpret the Bible. In fact, you have to interpret all language. Right now, although we share the same English language and we live in the same place during the same time, you are interpreting what I'm saying. You have to interpret the language. You have to interpret the Bible. How are you going to do that? Look, words have to matter. If words don't matter, if we can't trust words, if we don't believe that language can communicate ideas, we know it does that imperfectly. We know that we can have misunderstandings. I do a whole hour on language. Communication requires a speaker, words, and a listener. And you have to take all three into account. The speaker has a responsibility to know the audience, to use the right words. The audience has a responsibility to listen to the words that are actually used and have some idea of what the intent of the speaker is. Now, in our modern culture in America right now, the idea is that the listener decides what is said. If this is the case, it means you can walk up to somebody and say, have a nice day, and they can say, quit telling me what to do. And you're like, no, I'm not. It's a greeting. The problem with the notion that the listener gets to decide is a theological problem. Because what this means is that when someone picks up the Bible and reads it, it doesn't matter what the author's intent was. It doesn't matter what the context of the words or the definitions of the words are. That is a dangerous thing. It also does not hold up to scrutiny. I've had disagreements with people, and they've said the listener gets to decide. And I've said, no, you don't get to just decide. And they go, yes, I do. I'm the listener. I decide. And I go, okay, well, then I'm glad we agree. And they say, no, we don't agree. And I say, oh, that's what I heard. But you have to believe that language can communicate ideas and that it is trustworthy, because if you don't believe that language can do that, then the colorful tools in my bathtub will not giraffe. Are you the baby's pumpkin? What the heck was that? If words don't have meaning and ideas cannot be communicated through language, stop listening now. The use of words is important. The Nazis did not talk about murder, genocide, and extermination. The Nazis talked about the Jewish problem and that it needed a final solution. These were the words they used. And by the way, they used those words in the highest level of the government that was committing these atrocities. They, even in their inner circle, did not use the term genocide. Why? Because words are important. And they wanted to hide, even from themselves, what was actually happening. During the French Revolution, the Committee of Public Safety was formed. Who's against the Committee of Public Safety? Well, nobody. Except that before it was all over in the French Revolution, it was the Committee of Public Safety that was considered to be the largest part of what was then called the Reign of Terror. In America, right now, we have the Equity Act. Well, who's against equality? We all want equality. But I'm going to tell you that the Equity Act is as much about equality as the French's Committee of Public Safety was about public safety. Choice, who's against choice? Everybody. I believe in choice. Everybody should have a choice. But do you have the choice to kill another human being? And the answer would be no, you do not have that choice. You're not allowed that choice. So calling it a choice is really using words to change the argument. Sometimes when you're having a discussion with somebody, you will hear them say, well, we agree, it's just semantics, meaning it's just about the words we're using. I want you to know something. It is exceedingly rare that two people are communicating the same idea using different words. But I will tell you what does happen all the time, and because of the redefinition of words, is that you will often see people with different ideas saying the same words. Different ideas saying the same words. It's dangerous. You've got to be on the lookout for it. You've got to pay attention for it, and it muddies the water, and it makes communication more difficult. Why are words used in this way? It is used to hide, to obfuscate, to put up smoke screens so that the real issues cannot be discussed properly.